And so we visualize the entity relationship model as an entity relationship diagram in which the entities are drawn as boxes and the relationships are connected by lines. And if we look in the example at the bottom of our screen there, we can see the entities are the boxes that represent the stores, the sales, and the products. The relationships are the connections between the store sales and the sales to the product. So there's one store for many sales and many sales for one product. The attribute are the characteristics of each of the entities that we are maintaining. For example, and again in the stores table, there's the store ID, state, and store. And then the definition is how we're restricting the data values that we're storing in each of those attributes or fields. Lastly, there's the format, which is the structured data encoded into a computer file. When we're diagramming an entity relationship model, we're actually modeling the data, which is a progressive process where we conceptualize the data, list the data requirements, and lastly, manage the data. And we can break that down into conceptual, logical, and physical data models. We'll talk about each data model next. The conceptual data model is a first level abstraction of real world entities and relationships. It's the first step in organizing the data. And the way to think about it is it's the bubble diagram, in which, in this case, for example, you decide that you want to model stores, sales, and products. And what is just as important as what you contain in the model is what you omit from the model. Those are the things that are not significant. So we're not actually trying to recreate the real world. What we're trying to do is distill the real world down into our model so it's manageable and can represent the things that we're most interested in. The conceptual data model does not list attributes or primary keys. It only includes the entities and the relationships. So in this example right here, there is one store to many sales, and there is one sale to many products. That's what we're interested in when we're conceptualizing the data model. In the logical data model, entities are modeled as features and attributes along with their cardinal relationships. So it includes the entities and relationships of the conceptual data model, as well as it specifies the entity data type, the entity attributes, the primary and foreign keys for the relationships. So if you look at the example on the right, you can see that in addition to the stores, sales, and products and the relationships, now we're listing out the attributes and we're identifying where the primary key and foreign keys are, and then creating a relationship between those attributes and our tables. In the logical data model, the data is normalized, which means redundancy, repetitive values, and dependencies are minimized. Last, the logical data model does not specify a data format. The last stage of the data modeling process is the physical data model, in which we select the data management schema for storing the features, attributes, and relationships. And so the physical data model includes all of those elements that are associated with the conceptual and logical data models, as well as specifying the data definitions and data format. So if we look at the example on the right, not only are we listing out the attributes, but we're listing out the types of data that we're going to store in each of those attributes. For example, whether it's a text, an integer, or a decimal. In summary, you can see in this matrix, I've listed out the conceptual, logical, and physical data model stages, along with the different elements of these three types of data models. And you can see how they progressively build on each other. First, with the conceptual data model, you're identifying the entity names and relationships. Then in the logical data model, you're adding data types, attributes, primary keys, and foreign keys. Last, in the physical data model, you're creating specific table names, column names, and data types.